Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another session here on Facebook Live. My name is Patrick France, Senior Instructor here at VectorVest. Glad to be with you all. Hopefully you all are doing well. If you can hear me, if everything's coming through fine for you, let me know. I noticed a little bit of internet disruption, so I want to make sure that's all set. Make sure that's good to go. So once again, welcome. Hopefully everyone is doing well. See some people coming in the chat there. Good morning, David, Curtis, Tanoa, Tulio, Justin, Bob, Franz. Welcome. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Awesome. Sound is good. Awesome. Thank you guys for that input. So once again, my name is Patrick France, Senior Instructor here at VectorVest. Every single Thursday we go live here on Facebook where we talk specifically about the VectorVest Stock Advisory app. It's one of the most comprehensive trading apps. If you're invested in the market whatsoever, this is the best tool you can have right in the palm of your hand. So for anybody new that's just tuning in for the first time, to give you a little insight on the flow that we go over typically here, we first start to take a look at what's going on in the market here today. Then we'll dive into our topic. So for today, it's actually a viewer request that we had from last week, where we're going to talk about the different styles of investing, how to identify what your style is, and then what market timing really relates to that the best. And then, as always, we like to finish off with the personal fan favorite of showing you how you can analyze your stocks in less than 20 seconds. So, if you want to see how the analysis works, if you're not already a subscriber, not already a user of the VectorVest Stock Advisory app, if you want to see how the analysis, how easy the analysis can be for you, stick around to the very end. We'll analyze your stocks. Also, if you're not already a subscriber, you can click on the pinned comments, the link in the pinned comments where you can download, the 2-week free trial. Give it a shot. As the old saying goes, seeing is believing. And once you put it to the test, you put it through the ropes, there's no doubt in my mind you're gonna question yourself how you ever went throughout your investing without having this at your side. Let's see. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate that. So awesome. Does VectorVest support Forex as well? No. We specifically cover stocks, ETFs, and we do have some options tools, not on the mobile, but on a desktop platform, which you can see right above me. Right above me is the VectorVest 7 platform, which we will actually get into a little bit here today. So that way we can go over those different timing signals, make it a little easier for everybody out there to see. But then I'll wrap it back up and show you how you can follow that with the mobile app specifically, so you don't have to have the desktop. But for today's demonstration, today's presentation, it will make it a little bit easier for everybody to understand by getting into that a little bit here as well. Also, before we get started, one of the things that a lot of people ask throughout our streams is, do we have real time? Because the app just by itself is on a 15-minute delay. As you can see at the top, it is delayed by 15 minutes. So if you ever want real time, give our support call. We do offer real time. You do have to have the the VectorVest platform for the desktop to be able to get that. It is an upgrade, but we do have that option available. If you're interested, just simply give our support a call. They'd be glad to help you out. John, so as asking about Canadian stocks, we do track Canadian stocks, John. But the way our market timing system works is that, for the US specifically, or for any market, but we'll use the US as an example. For our market timing, we track all the stocks in the US market, so that way the timing pertains to that specific market. Same as the Canadian market. We track all those stocks in the Canadian market, so that way it stays in a separate area, basically. So the market timing specifically pertains to that market. So if you want to analyze some Canadian stocks, stick around to the end. I'll see what I can do, trying to switch over to it, try to help you out with that, and go over some of those as well. Chris is saying, I'm really busy, but want to see this. Can I watch recorded later? Yes, Chris. Thank you for asking that. It's a perfect question. As always, all these sessions are recorded here on our Facebook channel. So all you have to do, if you want to ever go back and watch any of the replays of any of the sessions we've ever had, just go to VectorVest Facebook page, and click on the live section there. And there you can find an archive of all the live sessions we've ever done. So if you're not able to stick around the whole time, you can always come back and rewatch it at the end. Yes, it does, Oscar. We'll get into that here in a little bit. All right, so with that, let's go ahead, dive right into the market, see what's going on, talk about it, and then move into our topic here today. So as you can see right now, we are currently one tick into the red. Therefore, the market is mildly bearish, and VectorVest does not advocate buying any stocks at this time. Regardless if it has a buy, hold, or sell rating on the stock, we simply, would advocate to not buy anything. Worst case scenario, if you want to play the market to the downside, that's one opportunity, but not buying stocks long here today. We scroll down, as always, the market guidance videos. If you're not already watching these, I highly recommend to do so. I've been here at VectorVest for over 9 years, coming up on 10 years here shortly. And this is one of the simplest things you can do to get the most out of your VectorVest service. This will cover what's going on in the market today, what to expect for tomorrow, what news you need to be aware of, and how to prepare yourself for the next trading day. In essence, just simply watching that 5 to 10 minute long video on a nightly basis will keep you up to date with what's going on in the market and make sure that you never get caught off guard by any market moves here. As always as well, just to throw it out there, if you're new here, don't forget to hit that like button. If you've been here for a while, make sure to hit that like button, hit the share button as well. Get this out to all your friends, all your family. That way, you can help them become better investors and help them become financially independent by utilizing the markets and trading the markets to help generate their wealth and growth. That's really our goal here every week. So if you've enjoyed these sessions, make sure to hit that like button, make sure to hit that share button. All of that helps me, helps grow this, and helps show that, you guys are enjoying these sessions as well. So with that, let's go ahead and really start to take a look at what's going on in the market. So to analyze the market, we always look at the color guard. The color guard is based off 3 main components that we use based upon the VectorVest composite. Now, if you're new to VectorVest or not familiar with what the VectorVest composite is, it's an arithmetic indexed average of all 8,200 stocks we currently track in the US market. If you're in other markets around the world, it'll track the amount of stocks in those specific markets as well. So the first one we come to is the price, looking at the price of the overall market. This is more of the technical look, if you will. We measure it by looking at, the market's moving higher day over day, week over week. If we see a green light in that price column, that shows us that we're higher not only on a day over day basis, but also on a week over week basis. If we see a red light, that means we're lower day over day and week over week. And if we see a yellow light, that tells us we're simply mixed. After that, we then get the RT, which is cast on a scale of 0 to 2, stands for relative timing, and it looks at the short-term price trend of the overall market. So since it's on a scale of 0 to 2, above 1, the short-term trend of the market is up. Below 1, short-term trend of the market is down. As we can see, it is above 1 currently at 1.11, but if we look back to what it was a week ago, we can see that it definitely is moving lower, showing some softening to that uptrend that we've been experiencing since the lows back in March. Then we look at the buy to sell ratio. Every single day, VectorVest gives a buy, hold, or sell rating on each stock. This is based upon rules. This is not based upon, analyst opinions. We don't have some guys crunching numbers all day in a back office somewhere saying, I like this stock, I don't like this stock. What this is looking at is a systematic approach of analyzing stocks, so that way you're comparing apples to apples rather than trying to compare apples to oranges. So based upon those rules, we give a buy, hold, or sell rating each and every day on every single stock out of 8,200 stocks that we track. And we look at the number of buy rated stocks and compare it to the number of sell rated stocks. If there's more stocks that have a buy rating than a sell rating, then the buy to sell ratio is going to be above 1, and that shows overall strength of the market. If the buy to sell ratio is below 1, that shows us there's more sells than buys in the market, and that would show us overall market weakness. And then all 3 of these come up together to comprise the MTI, which stands for the market timing indicator. So MTI, once again, is going to be on a scaling of 0 to 2. Above 1, the underlying trend of the market is up. Below 1, underlying trend of the market is down. Now, I like to mention it every single week because these are some key levels that everybody needs to be aware of. Whenever we see the MTI at 1.6 or higher, that generally shows the market's looking for a top. As we can see, even a week ago, we were at that 1.6 level. We were actually even higher just a week or 2 prior to that as well. That tells us, yeah, the market's still in an uptrend, but be cautious because there's more downside risk than upside potential, essentially is what it's telling us. that, the uptrend that we've been experiencing is mature in its phase, and that, we may be seeing a softening in the near future. So, take advantage of this uptrend while it lasts, but if you need to repurchase stocks, this is the time that, you may want to err on the side of caution, or if you're still holding on to some really good positions that have some great gains, this may be a time that, you tighten those stops up, so that way if the market does start selling off, you're locking those gains in, and that way you have, realized gains rather than unrealized gains. So then after the MTI, we then get the trend column, which shows two parts of the trend each and every day. The first part is what we call the primary wave, which simply looks at the weekly trend of the market or the short-term trend of the market. As we can see, it is down since the price of the VectorVest composite is lower than it was 5 trading days earlier. The second part, just looking at the underlying trend of the market or the MTI. Since the MTI is above 1, the underlying trend of the market is also up, or is up right now. And then finally, for our more conservative investors, we then get the calls column, which stands for our confirmed calls. Our confirmed calls are our last signal we get to get into the market and our last signal we get to get out. As you can see, we still remain in a confirmed up situation as of today. So these calls, the primary wave, the confirmed calls, those types of things, we're actually going to be getting into in a little bit more detail here in a few minutes. So make sure to stick around for that. So let's go ahead, scroll down. As always, we like to take a look at the number of stocks advancing and the number of stocks declining throughout the market. Now, if we had a green light and the market was telling us, the indicator was telling us it's time to go ahead and buy, we like to see at least twice as many stocks advancing than declining. If we have a red light, which we're on the cusp of here today, we like to see twice as many stocks declining than advancing if we were going to be shorting stocks or buying contra ETFs or whatever fits your investment plan. So as you can see right now, we're pretty much flat on advances to declines, telling us there's no real clear trend in the market as of today. Therefore, telling us we should be erring on the side of caution. We shouldn't be buying anything long, really shouldn't be buying anything or shorting anything or playing anything to the downside. We just simply want to maintain our current holdings. Now, as always, let's finish off by taking a look at what's going on in the major indices. So as we can see right now, the Dow is down about 0.1%. NASDAQ's essentially flat. S&P's also down about 0.1%. But really, the main thing we like to look at is the VectorVest composite is also flat. Now, we feel like the VectorVest composite gives us a better representation on what's going on in the market because we're not just looking at, the Dow's 30 or the NASDAQ's 100 or the S&P's 500, but we're looking at 8,200 stocks. So, this gives us a better feel for what's really happening in the market right now. And as we can see, it's flat. So let's go ahead. We're going to jump into today's topic, talk about the different styles of investing and which timing signals really fit those or work for those the best. Before we do that, I just want to make sure I get any quick questions answered. Is the screener screen in the upper right of your screen available on mobile or tablet or only desktop? So the screener screen. We do have a screener in the mobile app, which we talked about, I believe, last week as well. We highlighted a few things from that. But the desktop app, we do have the Unisearch tool, which has a lot more screens available, and it gives you the ability to customize them as well. Drew, if you're interested in specifically, what types of screens you can come up with, give our support a call. They can go through and, walk you through a lot of that there. Can you see the DEW in the color guard? Yes, Michael. And that is one signal that we will talk about here today. But the DEW is not something that you can find in the mobile app specifically or directly, but it is talked about in the daily color guard report on a nightly basis. Let's see, bought contra ETF Yang today since the market was down, but it isn't going up. So look at what, Yang is. Yang is not directly correlated to our markets. Yang is looking at, if I'm not mistaken, Chinese markets or something specific on that. Let's go ahead real quick just to answer this question. YNG. Come up here. Go to view report. And under the business description, blah, 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 before fees and expenses, 300% of the inverse of price performance of the BONY Mellon China Select ADR Index. So that's what you're basing it off of. So once again, as we talked about the other week, stick with stuff you're familiar with. If you're not familiar with the BONY Mellon China Select ADR Index, then I would advise to stay away from that, because it's going to relate to that specifically and not necessarily what the S&P, the Dow, or the NASDAQ, or gold and silver, or oil are doing. So keep that in mind whenever looking for ETFs that you're interested in. All right, so with that, let's go ahead and jump into the VectorVest 7 software, and that's where we're going to start for today's session. So give me 1 second here. I'm just going to switch it over. So as you can see right now, I am in the VectorVest 7 software. We have the home page here, just like it normally reads. You can see in the upper left, it is showing that it's real-time data. In the bottom right, you can see the last tick, 11:16 and some seconds. But what we're going to do here, and the reason why we're going to really get into the desktop here, is because we do have some extra reports that come with the desktop that you can't find in the mobile app. So under the view section, we're going to go to special reports and then come down here and find the one that's called Strategic Investment Matrix. Double click on it. There we go. So for anybody that is just seeing this for the first time, it is a very simplistic way of helping identify what your investment style really is. Here at VectorVest, we find, or we typically categorize people in one of 4 ways: prudent, aggressive, conservative, or speculative. These are the 4 categories of your investment style. Now, as you can see at the top, we have RS, or the relative safety, which, if you're not familiar with it, is the indicator of risk in a stock. And on the right, we have the relative value. These are both cast on scales of 0 to 2, just like all of our key indicators. We're going to be talking a little bit more about, those specific indicators when we analyze your stocks at the end. But for time's sake, essentially what we're looking at, these lines are the 1 lines, and relative value tells us the reward factor. How much reward does this stock have over the next 1 to 3 years? If the RV is above 1, it tells us it has a higher reward. So as you can see, high at the top, low at the bottom. The relative safety, that risk factor, as you can see, risk right here. If the relative safety is below 1, that tells us that there's more risk associated with that stock. If the relative safety is above 1, that tells us there's lower risk with that stock. So the way we analyze this is by looking at, a prudent investor. We would identify them as somebody that wants the best of both worlds, essentially. You're looking for low risk, but high reward at the same time. If you're aggressive, you still want that high reward, but you're willing to accept more risk to get there. So therefore, the RV is still going to be above 1. The RS is going to be below 1. Looking at a conservative investor, you're not really focused on trying to outpace the market. This is going to be something that, you're looking at for long-term, maybe dividend stocks, long-term holdings, those types of situations. So therefore, your risk, you want it to be low. So you want a high RS, but at the same time, you're not really worried about outpacing the market. So you're willing to take a lower reward for that lower risk. And then finally, we get the last classification, which I see a lot of stocks every single week coming in as speculative. So what this is no regard for the fundamentals, no regard for how much risk is associated with it. These are news driven. These are the biotechs that you guys see. These are the high flyers that pop and drop in a single day. They may run up 100% in a single day. Then by the end of the day, they're back down to only up 5 or maybe even in negative territory. So speculative is, not paying attention to any fundamental analysis whatsoever, just going off of news. And therefore your RV and RS are always going to be below 1. So whenever you guys see me talking about analyzing your stocks, for anybody that sticks around every week, this is how I come up with identifying, this stock is speculative, or no, this stock's more aggressive, or this stock's more conservative. This is how I come up with those answers and how I classify them. So that way, everybody's on the same page. And once again, we're putting a systematic approach to it rather than, an emotional approach or, a non-scientific approach to it, if you will. So now that we've identified the 4 categories of investing, I strongly urge everyone, if you haven't built your own watch list, go ahead, build a watch list. You can find it, especially if you have the desktop, you can find the watch list average, and that'll tell you what your investment styles are, because not everybody's going to have RV and RSs always above one. So, by building a watch list, looking at the average, it can actually help you get a better understanding of what your investment style really is, and make sure that you're sticking with stocks that meet that style. Because if you're a conservative investor, you're using longer timing signals, but trading, really speculative or really aggressive stocks that are high flyers, your plan doesn't match up, and therefore you're going to have a hard time being successful with that plan. You want to match up your timing with the types of stocks that you're getting into to get the best or the most out of your investing and the most out of your time that you put in to managing your portfolio. So with that, let's go ahead. What we're going to do is take a look at the market timing graph here in VectorVest 7 and go over these 4 styles and what types of timing signals work best with those. So we're going to go ahead, jump into the graphs, change it to the market timing graph here. Just going to go ahead, take this off. And as you can see, this is a default look here where we have the price of the VectorVest composite shown in candlesticks. Below that, the MTI, the BSR, and the RT. Before we really even get into it, as you can see, look at what the buy to sell ratio has done. It's dropping significantly here over the last couple of weeks, telling us less and less stocks are participating after this big rally that we saw since the end of March, giving us a little hesitation, which is why we talk about it week in and week out. So let's go ahead. What we're going to do is we're going to start off with the more speculative to aggressive trading timing signals, and then work our way to more of the conservative long-term timing signals. So in the bottom left, I can click on confirm calls or the down arrow next to it. I'm going to start off with the primary wave. Now, as we talked about, we'll zoom in, let's say, to a 3-month, make it a little easier for everybody. The primary wave is the weekly trend of the market. So comparing the price to what it was doing 5 trading days earlier. If you're a speculative investor or an aggressive investor, let's say you're somebody who's, very short-term trading those high flyers, this is going to be one of the best opportunities or the best timing signals for you. So as you can see, you get very quick reactions to what's going on in the market. Down, back up, a lot of fluctuation, down, back up. But here, nice run up, then you had a down, then you got back up, then a down, back up. As you can see, a lot of fluctuation. You're going to have a lot of ins and outs with this one. If you're a heavy trader, this is going to help you out a lot. If you're wanting to slow it down a little bit though, then that's when you start to look at something, let's say, like the Greenlight Buyer RT Kicker. Greenlight Buyer, what it's looking at is a green light in the price column with the color guard on the home page or on the home page of the mobile app like we've talked about, but that has that little green asterisk next to it. That means that, it's looking at 2 moving averages on the RT, that short-term price trend in the overall market. So if you have a green light here, you not only have a green light in the price column, but you also have the 2 moving averages in positive territory confirming that green light, showing you momentum is in favor of that green light. So this is more of a timing signal for the more prudent investor, if you will. Somebody who's, wanting to slowly trickle into the market, not necessarily dive right in and load up their portfolio the first time they see a possible opportunity. They're a little bit more cautious with their entries, but want to, slowly move back into the market, especially after situations like we've just gone through where, you had a huge fear throughout global markets of a global pandemic. Markets sold off. People are fearful at that point, but you have to have a systematic approach of when you're going to start slowly getting back in, or else you're just going to miss out on the whole run and possibly, miss out on a great money-making opportunity. So this is a great timing signal if you want to step in into the market, if you will. And as you can see, every time we have these green lights, you had one here, buying opportunity, buying opportunity. Buy one stock that day, then that day, you had one here, you had a yellow light here actually, then another green light confirmed. Capturing nice ways of stepping into the market. But now look what's going on. We had a yellow light since the 9th of June and have been in a yellow territory ever since, telling us that we haven't been buying anything as the market's been, moving sideways, slightly pulling back a little bit. So this is a great way to, avoid the pullbacks in the market, but help you get in early enough to really capture bigger moves. With this, you can see here, you had a down signal telling you final signal to get out, kept you out throughout the whole downturn, throughout, February and March, got you back in though on the 6th of April. Well, 2 months later, we're still in a nice uptrend. Would that have been a good time to start stepping back into the market? Ask yourself, using something like this, would that have helped you get into the market, capture more gain, make more gains in your portfolio, make more gains in your positions throughout the last 2 months? If you think so, this would be a good timing signal for you. And then the last one we're going to focus on is more of the conservative approach. Confirmed calls. As I always say, every single week when we start talking about it, going over the color guard, confirmed calls are going to be our last signal we get to get into the market and our last signal we get to get out. So therefore, they're our final line in the sand or our final line of defense. Because they're more conservative, you're going to miss out on the earlier entries to have a little bit more consistency in the longer run. So we got one on the 18th of May rather than the 6th of April. So you gave up about a month's worth of possibility, but you're also waiting for more of a consistent signal as well. Since this is going to be more long-term, you can see here, you had a great run from the 23rd of October all the way to the 31st of January, capturing this nice long run that you can just sit and hold, feel comfortable in. Then you start seeing a little bit of fluctuation coming in price, got a little head fake, but saved yourself from sitting through the bigger downturn, the 30% drop that we saw in the market. So this is where confirmed calls really help out for longer term investors. Maria, yeah, I agree. I get it. It is something that I've brought up to our development team and they have it on the docket. I don't have an update on when, but it is something that they are working on, but there's a lot of stuff they're working on. So it's a slow process getting that in. But yeah, I agree. I want to have the market timing signals in the app. That's one of the things that I'm really pushing for to help you guys out as well. So, but I appreciate that feedback. That definitely helps them see as well that it's not just me, pushing for it, but it's our customers as well that want to see this as well in the mobile app. So that is more of the conservative approach. As you can see, a lot less signals compared to, let's say, the primary wave, a lot less signals than the Greenlight Buyer RT Kicker, a lot less signals than, let's say, even the Greenlight Buyer, just a standard early entry, more aggressive style of investing, where, if you're wanting to get in earlier, but you're willing to accept that more risk. So, more of that aggressive style, but you're not somebody who's a day trader looking at primary wave. This could be another opportunity. As you can see, we got an entry 3 days in after the official bottom, giving us our first opportunity to jump in. Market pulled back a little bit, then all of a sudden, the 6th of April, got another opportunity. This is where you can start to jump right in and slowly step your way in closest as possible to the bottom. So once again, you are definitely more aggressive in this approach, but with that, that there's higher risk for the chance of higher reward. How do you get the signals? So Adam, the Greenlight Buyer is very simple. Just like it states, when you look at the homepage, when you look at these green lights in the price column, the color guard on the homepage, that would indicate, when we go back to the graph, a green light or every single up market that you see here. So that's how the Greenlight Buyer's given here. Now, if we change our graph layout to the RT Kicker combo to give you guys a visual signal, here we see a 10 and a 15-day moving average of RT. So if the short-term moving average is greater than the longer-term moving average, that shows short-term momentum. Now, when we have a green light, that confirms that green light and shows short-term momentum in favor of that green light. If we have a red light and the short-term moving average is below the longer-term moving average, then that would confirm that red light there. So if somebody likes to play the market both up and down, they get those opportunities to do so. Is that on the app? So no, I'm going to cover how you can find this kind of information on the app on a daily basis as well. So just kind of giving everybody the explanations on these, so that way everybody is on the same page and understands in a little bit more detail on how these are generated, and knowing that they're not just randomly generated. These are based upon a systematic approach, because a systematic approach has been proven time and time again that to help improve your accuracy, your profitability, and your consistency in your trading. So that's how we come up with the Greenlight Buyer RT kicker. And then for our confirm calls, these signals here, the more slow approach, if you will. For that, I'll just go here so you guys can see it. Let's go into the color guard. Confirm calls. To get an up signal, the price of the VectorVest composite has to increase 5 trading day period over 5 trading day period for 2 consecutive 5 trading day periods. It also has to increase from the prior day, and the buy to sell ratio has to go greater than 1. Just the inverse for the down. So price of the VectorVest composite moving lower for 2 consecutive 5-day trading periods moves lower from the prior day, and the buy to sell ratio has to be less than 1. That's how you get those confirmed calls there. So once again, systematic approach. And then finally, for somebody who's more of a swing trader, not really, they may trade aggressive stocks, they may trade more prudent stocks, but they really identify themselves as a swing trader. One of my favorite timing systems here at VectorVest is more of a technical timing that is rules generated still, but we call it the DEW. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch it to our DEW layout here. And as you can see, I'm going to switch our market timing calls to DEW as well. And as you can see, a few technical indicators here. The D for the DEW stands for the DPO or detrended price oscillator. The E stands for the envelopes, and the W stands for the 30-day weighted moving average. So if you get the price of the VectorVest composite going above the 30-day weighted moving average and the DPO crossing into positive territory, when those two things happen, that indicates that you have an up signal. When the price goes below and the DPO comes down into negative territory, that gives you a down signal. So this is great if you play both up and down markets, but looking for, that nice middle ground. Prudent investors could use it. Aggressive investors could use it. But more of that swing trade style of investing. That's where this is going to benefit you the most. What do the yellow dots represent? So the yellow dots just represent, Ravi, a neutral signal. So if we had a yellow light in the price column, let's say the price was higher from the prior, or lower than it was from 5 trading days earlier, but higher than the prior day, then it would give a yellow light, and therefore that's when you would see that yellow dot there. So that's all that's representing. Not caution or anything, just more on a neutral signal. You're not doing anything really, just managing your current holdings. So Kim, as I stated from the very beginning, this is VectorVest 7. So this is the desktop app. I'm in desktop app right now just to make it easier for everybody to see and get a little bit more detail on that. And so that's what it's showing here. The mobile app, I'm going to show you how you're not going to be only on the desktop, but I will show you where you can get updated information on these signals every single night. So those are the signals. Those are the timings on what type of investor would use which one. Now, I did cover a few different options because people are different. Not everybody uses the same thing. So if you're somebody who, may feel more comfortable with the technical timing system, by all means, DEW would work well. If you want more rules generated, then, the Greenlight Buyer or Greenlight Buyer RT kicker. So I'm giving you some options so that way you can figure out what fits you the best, what you're most comfortable with. Where do you get the MTI parameters? So MTI is actually, let's go ahead jump back into the mobile app now. Since a lot of people are questioning or wondering about that. So the MTI can actually be found right here on the home page of the mobile app. As you can see, that fourth column in the color guard says the MTI. So that's where you can get that. With that being said, every single night, I talked about it just a little bit ago, the daily color guard report. We talk about every single one of these timing signals every single night in about a 5 to 10 minute recap video that we do for you, and go over the primary wave, the DEW, the confirmed calls, all of that. So that way, when you're in the mobile app, and let's say you're using the DEW, you know when we have a DEW timing change. So you can stay up to date and still utilize that as a mobile user. There should be a link in the pinned comments there for you, Kim. So that's where it's really coming from, is that, you don't have to go through all these graphs. You go through today, figure out, hey, I really like, let's say DEW. Well, all you got to do is simply spend 5 minutes watching that daily color guard report, and that'll keep you up to date with when you have a DEW change. So if you're following that as your timing signal, you can, make the appropriate changes at that point. Also, as we talked about, you can let's go to the VectorVest composite graph real quick. I'll just zoom out here. And you can add these parameters in. So we go here, we go moving averages, change it to weighted, 30-day moving average weighted. Let's go ahead, support envelopes. There we go. There's the E for the DEW. And then finally, the DPO. And let's zoom out 6 months. So there's that same graph that we just looked at on the home page, or on the VectorVest 7 on the mobile app. Here's your DEW layout. You can create it. It's not going to give you the signals like you saw in the desktop, but you can see, based upon those rules, when you get the timing changes, if you don't want to wait till the update every night. So you do get that opportunity as well. What does this star indicate in price for June 24th? Let's go back. June 24th. So June 24th, that is the RT kicker combo timing signal that we talked about. So what that means is not only do we have a red light in the price column, the color guard on the home page, but if you see above me, I'll just change it real quick. Where is it? There we go. The 10-day moving average of RT is less than the 15-day moving average of RT, showing short-term momentum in favor of that red light. You don't have to worry about going into the graphs and trying to do this on your own, because you can see that right there on that price column. That's what that asterisk is referring to. Do you need real time for DEW? Not at all. Not at all, Ravi. All this can be done without having real time. All this can be done, pretty much everything we need to do can be done through the mobile app. If you want the extra bells and whistles and you want to have more customization to your graphs, and you want to see the arrows on the graphs, if you want to upgrade to VectorVest 7, by all means you can. Give our support a call. They can go over those options for you. But if you don't want to, if you're just sticking with the mobile app, you can get that same information on a nightly basis. Or as we just showed, come up with a DEW timing system on your graphs as well. You just have to build it in there, which is very easily done. So if you have any questions on today's session, or if you have any questions, if you're watching the recording of this, don't hesitate to give our support a call. They'd be glad to help you out. Go over anything that you are unclear of. And if you have questions, by all means, put them in the chat here. I'd be glad to answer those. And if not, let's go ahead, jump into the fan favorite here of analyzing any stock that you want to take a look at in less than 20 seconds. So let's see. I'm not seeing the color guard dates listed. What do you mean? The dates are showing right next to the color guard there. If you're not seeing those, give our support a call. They can take a look, see what's going on there for you. Let's see. Making sure I didn't miss any questions. How's MTI work with the QQQ and SPY? So QQQ and SPY, very small segments of the market there. Therefore, it's going to be close, but there are going to be some times where you have less correlation. But overall market representation, the VectorVest composite is going to do a better job if you're not just trading, the S&P 500 or just tech stocks. If you're looking at, broad market moves, VectorVest composite is going to help you get a better analysis on the overall market faster there. All right. So first stock coming in is SINT. Let's go ahead and take a look. SINT, a speculative stock. We see the RV is below 1, telling us it has low reward opportunity over the next 1 to 3 years. The RS, the relative safety, the risk factor is below 1, telling us that it has more risk associated with it. So therefore, that identifies it as a speculative stock. Looking at the RT, 1.4, it does have some strong momentum to it right now on a short-term basis. It's a momentum stock. It's a trader stock. It's a very short-term trade. Because of the low fundamentals, though, the overall VST rating is going to be below 1. So telling us the stock is not favorable overall. If you're going to be getting into these speculative stocks, as we talk about week in and week out, you're typically going to want to see the MT or the RT 1.4, 1.5 minimum. You really want to see it climbing, not stagnating there. As you can see, it's down 13% right now here today. It's $1.82. Speculative stock. Let's see. Next one, Gush ETF. Alrighty. So this is an oil ETF. With ETFs, they don't report quarterly earnings like stocks do. So therefore, the fundamental analysis or the fundamental indicators are always going to be pegged at 1. So the RV is going to be at 1. The RS is going to be at 1. Therefore, when looking at ETFs, the primary indicator you want to focus on is the RT. At 0.37, it tells us it's in a really strong downtrend. So therefore, Gush is not favorable right now. Let's go see APT. APT, you have good long-term potential. You have better than average safety involved with it, so less risk associated with it. You have a really strong uptrend, so overall this stock is favorable. This would be classified as more of a prudent stock, and it has really strong momentum to it. Now, obviously, we looked at the homepage. Today's not a good day to be buying, but if it was and this stock was moving higher, this would be an opportunity that we'd be looking at. If you already hold it, this is the time to be tightening up your stops. Not really getting into it today, but if you're already into it, managing that position, tightening up your stops, making sure that if it does start pulling back at all with the overall market, that you're locking your profit in there. All right, let's go see APT, MGM. MGM's more of a speculative trade still. Poor long-term potential just by a little bit. You do have some additional risk associated with this stock. It's in a short-term downtrend, so therefore the stock is not favorable at the moment. CD&S. We don't do Forex there, Isaac. We do stocks, ETFs, and options mainly. CD&S. CD&S, good long-term potential, less risk associated with it, nice strong uptrend. Overall, the stock is favorable. So if today was a day to be buying, this may be an opportunity to look at. Since today is not a day to be buying, we'd simply hold off, wait for that better buying opportunity to arise. If you don't want to wait for that opportunity, if you're already into this stock, just simply let your stop criteria manage your position. DIS. So DIS, poor long-term potential, but a little bit better than average safety involved with it. Not by much, though. Timing is essentially flat. Overall, though, the stock's not favorable and hasn't been favorable for quite a while. Not in the mobile app, Sebastian. The options stuff or options tools that we have are specifically for desktop. We don't have options tools specific for mobile applications currently. APTV. Really, the whole going back to Disney though, the whole Disney thing happened, last November when they announced their Disney Plus took off like crazy. But then at the beginning of the year, after that big run was done, stock just hasn't recovered ever since. APTV, good long-term potential, a little bit of additional risk though associated with it to get that long-term potential. So more of an aggressive stock. Really nice, strong momentum right now behind it to the upside. Therefore, the stock is favorable. But once again, if you're aggressive, this is a good stock for you. If you're more conservative or prudent, you may want to look for something else. MMM. A little bit less than average long-term potential over the next 1 to 3 years. A little bit more risk associated with it than the average stock out there. Timing is in a slight downtrend. Overall, stock's not favorable yet, or not favorable right now. WKHS. Oh. There we go. WKHS, a speculative stock. Poor long-term potential, a lot of risk associated with it. But look at that timing. It's a momentum play right now. So if you're a momentum trader, day trader, very, very aggressive short-term trader, maybe a couple of days max, this would be a great opportunity. But if you're somebody who is not speculative or trying to be very quick or with your entries and exits, this may be one you simply pass over for right now. That's recommended. Maybe not following that one. All right, PTON. Let's go take a look. PTON. PTON, another speculative trade right now. Poor long-term potential, a lot of risk associated with it, but look at that momentum. A RT of 2.0, can't go any higher than that. So therefore, if you're a momentum trader, this has it's overall favorable with a VST of 1.34. But if you're somebody who, is more prudent or values fundamentals, then you're going to be staying away from it. All right, XLK. And once again, folks, if you're a subscriber, all you got to do is just simply click on that magnifying glass. You can analyze any one of your stocks right at the palm of your hand. If you're not a subscriber, click on the link in the pinned comments. Download the free. It comes with a free 2-week trial. Put it to the test. Seeing is believing. XLK, once again, an ETF. So the main focus is going to be the RT. 1.54 tells us it's still in a short-term uptrend, a strong uptrend. Therefore, it's favorable right now. So to answer that question, Barry, if you want real time on the app, you have to have real time for the desktop. Then that would upgrade your app to real time as well. So if you want real time on the app, yes, you do have to have the desktop application. TMUS, let's go take a look. TMUS, poor long-term potential, but good fundamentals, solid fundamentals. So nice steady uptrend, therefore the stock's favorable. More of a conservative stock, but fundamentals are hot right now. Everybody wants the fundamentally sound companies. We've been talking about this for months here. BTCS, I think that's BTCS. There we go. BTCS, speculative trade. Poor long-term potential, a lot of risk associated with it. Timing is in a steady downtrend. Therefore, the stock's not favorable right now. You mentioned that Gush was in a downtrend. Would you say that it's right for a put option? It depends on what types of put or what type of put option you're doing. There's a lot of factors that go into the option side of things. There's a lot more factors that come into an options trade. So it's hard to say. It depends on the put option, what you're trying to do with it. Could be for the right type of trade, but you also want to make sure the open interest is there, those types of things. So I can't say definitively there, Kevin, if it would be a good stock for a put option, but there's a few other factors when you talk about options that you have to take into account. ENPH, let's go ahead, take a look. ENPH has great long-term potential, really solid fundamentals, consistently outperforming on their fundamentals, but the timing's not there. It's had some negative news, been hit with the overall market. But when it starts popping back up, just like it did, back in the fall of last year, this could be a great stock to get into. Don't you buy the dip to sell high? Well, Sebastian, think about this though. Just look above me. I'll go back to that graph. Let's say this is a stock graph above me, but it's the VectorVest composite, but just assume it's a stock graph. Here, the market just tumbled. Everybody's fearful. You had a bounce and you got to here. This was a high. This was a high. These are all opportunities to be buying back into the market. So, you always hear everybody always saying, and talking heads on TV saying, buy low, sell high. I am a firm believer in buy high and sell higher. That is a more prudent or more consistent strategy than trying to buy the dips. Because you don't know if that's going to be, the onset. Here, it dipped, shot up huge that one day on good news. You saw a potential reversal signal in that candle. Let's say you bought in there. It's off of the high. This could be a dip. Market, the whole fear of it coming in, or the whole pandemic fear, overblown, market's going to get right back up there. Well, what happened? Continue to go lower. So that's why, it's better not to try to buy dips in long-term bull markets, in bear markets. It's better to buy the dips in long-term bull markets, which go back a few weeks, watch our market checkup video, and we talk about the market climate. We entered into a long-term or a bear market scenario just a few months ago. So therefore, buying the dips is not necessarily the most prudent strategy in a bear market. It's a prudent strategy in a bull market. Hopefully that answers your question. I know I talked about a few different aspects of it. So hopefully that answers your question. All right, let's get back into it. PAVE, P-A-V-E. Not finding that one here. MRK. There we go. MRK. Good long-term potential, great long-term potential, but a little bit more risk associated with it. Timing isn't there though right now, so therefore the stock's about average. Really need to see the timing above 1. But it has that potential. Just wait for a good buying opportunity there. Hey there, Marcus. Hopefully you're doing well. Plug, let's go take a look. Plug, poor long-term potential, a lot of risk associated with it, but it's a momentum play right now. So therefore it's favorable. Only for momentum traders though, not for the faint of heart for sure. Let's go see QRVO. QRVO. Good long-term potential. A little bit more risk than the average stock out there though. Nice strong uptrend overall on a short-term basis. Therefore, the stock's favorable still. Now, once again, just because I say a stock is favorable does not mean you should go out and buy it. Market timing on the homepage tells us whether or not we should be buying a stock or not buying a stock. Right now, as we've been talking about since the beginning of the session, this uptrend is in the mature phase here. We're assuming, just to make sure everybody's on the same page, we're assuming that, you're already holding some of these stocks still, rather than trying to go buy them right now. All right, let's see. CARV, poor long-term potential, a lot of risk associated with it. Timing is in a steady decline. Yeah, it had a spike one day, but one day doesn't make a trend. Therefore, the stock is not favorable. EKSO. Marcus, what do you want to see? Which stock do you want to see? I didn't see one put in there by you. EKSO, poor long-term potential, a lot of risk associated with it, but right now you have some really strong, no wonder, it's up 136% today. So really strong momentum, probably some news-driven momentum right now. Therefore, momentum trader's dream, but if you're not a momentum trader, probably going to stay away from it. INO, poor long-term potential, a lot of risk associated with it, but really strong uptrend. Once again, all being generated off of rumor and news, no real substance behind that. And the RV and RS tell us that. Therefore, momentum trader, great. If you're not, probably staying away. GRN, poor long-term potential, a lot of risk associated with it. Timing 1.35. For a speculative trade, it's not really that 1.5 threshold that we want to see it at minimum. Therefore, the stock's not favorable right now. SRNE, let's go take a look. Haven't seen that stock in forever. SRNE, poor long-term potential, a lot of risk associated with it, but timing 1.84, really strong momentum play right now. Therefore, because of that momentum, it is favorable. But, all these biotech stocks are flying, swinging, having huge swings up and down because of rumor and news. No real substance behind these moves, just speculation, which is why we classify it as a speculative stock. ENPH. Wait, we already covered EMPH. TRVN, poor long-term potential, a lot of risk associated with it. So speculative stock, timing is below 1.5. So therefore it's not favorable right now. Yeah, there's some short-term momentum behind it, but not really enough to make us want to assume that extra risk. Let's see, AUDC. Kim, yeah. Is there a way to screen for speculative plays each day? Yeah, we've talked about the screener. We've talked about different ways of screening for stocks that help fit what you're looking for. As a group, no. Unless you're part of our Jockey Club, which is our real-time day trading room that we do Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. until 10:30 in the morning, where we're doing live trades. That's about the only thing that we have that you can do in a group session there. On a daily basis, but on your own, yes, we have talked about ways you can analyze or use the screeners or use the premium watch list to help find stocks that are speculative plays for the day. AUDC, good long-term potential, solid fundamentals, timing, probably, it's 1.11. Typically, we don't like anything below 1.1. It's slightly above that, but if we take a look at the graph, change it to the RT real quick. There we go. RT has been moving lower, not higher, so therefore probably going to stay away from it for right now. You're buying in at a higher price, but once again, Sebastian, buying in at a higher price means you're buying in with a little bit more consistency. You're giving up some of that reward potential for a little less risk potential. Or a little less risk associated with it. WM. And we'll do two more here for the day after this one. So WM, poor long-term potential, a little bit better than average. Fundamentals, though, timing is not there. So overall, the stock's not favorable right now. And then let's see. Where is it? Didn't get one from. So let's go ahead and just find two more from others then there. CODX. CODX, good long-term potential. A lot of risk associated with that long-term potential, however. Strong momentum. So therefore, the stock's favorable right now. And then finally, we'll go with BCRX. BCRX, similar situation to what we've seen today. Speculative trade, poor long-term potential, a lot of risk associated with it. It is in a short-term uptrend, but not enough to make the stock overall favorable. So once again, folks, if I didn't get to your stocks and you're not a subscriber, click on the link in the pinned comments, download the trial or download the app, sign up for the 2-week free trial. It doesn't cost you anything. Put it to the test. You can do all of this on your own with the trial period as well. As I keep saying, seeing is believing. Also, if you already are a subscriber, just click on that magnifying glass in the upper right, type in your stocks. You can do the same analysis we're doing here today on your own as well, from wherever you're at, on the go, traveling, whatever it may be. Real quick look at the market. Right now, we're 3 ticks into the yellow, market's neutral. We still don't advocate buying any stocks at the time. Looking at the color guard, it hasn't really changed much. 3 yellow lights, still in a down-up situation. Looking at the advanced declines, the decliners have picked up their pace over the last hour that we've been live. Right now, we're sitting at 37% of stocks moving higher, 53% of stocks moving lower. Starting to see more of that bearish bias coming in. So on that note, it's been my pleasure being with you here today. If you guys have enjoyed today's session, learned something, make sure to hit that like button, make sure to hit that share button. All that helps me out and lets me know that, you guys are enjoying these sessions. So that way I can get an idea of what you like, what you don't like. It helps me, plan for future sessions to make them the best that they could possibly be for you guys. So with that, I hope you all have a great rest of your trading day. Have a great weekend. Take care. Be safe out there. If you want to watch the replays, you can go to the VectorVest Facebook page, click on the live section, and you can get all the replays right there. So on that note, take care. Have a great weekend, and we will see you all next week at 11 a.m. Eastern. Bye for now, everybody.
Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Now, if you're new to the software or would like refresher information about the software, click on this Getting Started video right here. Thanks to all of your input, here's a YouTube video that we think would be perfect for you. Click right here. If nothing else, folks, just hit the subscribe button right here.